Hello everyone, Zim here, and there's been a lot that's happened in the past few days. Today I just kind of wanted to go over the Switch 2 stuff. You know, there's a whole pricing debacle with that. Shit, dropped my phone. And I wanted to talk about that stuff, and in addition, there was a new trailer for the Superman movie that's coming out, or like a sneak peek. It came out yesterday, and I wanted to kind of take a look at that. So, we'll start with the Switch 2 stuff. We're going to save the whole pricing thing for the end. I just want to talk about the Direct and how Mario Kart World is looking first. So, to start off, the new Direct began with this new intro that I actually really like. This new intro feels really fun. The last time they did anything like this was, good lord, what, like Wii U days? This console feels extremely Wii U, by the way. Just to be clear. Wow. They cold open after that with new Mario Kart footage, and when I say this is the most excited I've been for anything since Smash Ultimate's reveal, I mean it. And I loved Smash Ultimate's reveal. Every once in a while, I'll even go back and watch it again just to like revisit that feeling of how magical that reveal felt. And this reveal feels pretty close to that. There's a lot of stuff to talk about as far as the gameplay goes, because they showed off a further gameplay demo, but there's a lot to go into with Mario Kart World, so I'm going to save my discussion for it for a little later. I want to get through the rest of the Direct first. So they bring out, like, the director and hardware design lead and all that, and they're going to guide us through this whole presentation. Pretty epic, pretty awesome. I don't know, I think I know one of these guys. I don't think I know the other two. If these guys are the ones responsible for a lot of this stuff, oh boy, yikes. That's not great. They spend like the first 5 minutes of the Direct on Mario Kart World, and it's coming out on the day of the Switch. It's one of the Switch launch games. And then they go into this thing about Nintendo Switch voice chat, which is literally just Discord on the Switch, and you have to have a Nintendo account and Nintendo Switch Online to use it. But not for like the first year. It's going to be available for a while for free for some reason, which doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. I mean, like, additionally on top of that, the bottom screens, like, lag so much. They were way too honest in this trailer for their own good, dude. The bottom screens, they lag, and it's like, I'm really just not gonna use this, that much. Maybe a little bit if I'm, like, in a Mario Kart public lobby and they allow you to do public lobbies. But we've only ever seen people who are assumedly friends, and only up to, like, 5 people at a time, so it's kind of hard to say if we're gonna have like Mario Kart COD lobby type shenanigans. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep using Discord instead of using Nintendo Discord. This is so stupid. The worst part is too that that's all that new C button does, and it's like you could have done something better with it, you know. Just anything at all other than just voice chat. Now that I think about it, actually, that 5-person number is also inaccurate. It's actually 4 people. We only ever see 4 people, and I'm afraid that might be the limit. And if that's the limit, this will literally be useless. They also revealed the Switch 2 camera, which I guess maybe will be a good, like, budget camera, I guess. But also, it looks like it kind of sucks, and the only game confirmed to use it in any meaningful manner is that Mario Party Switch 2 Edition thing from Mario Party Jamboree, which, believe me, I'm about to talk about Actually, right now, I'll talk about it because I don't think I have anything more to say on this voice chat thing. This is skipping ahead, but we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 editions now, just because it relates to the camera. Because the new Mario Party Jamboree TV mode is coming out, where you will use the new features of the Switch 2 for new minigames. And I think this is honestly one of the better Switch 2 additions for a game. I think the camera thing is weird, but you know, it's a little cool. It reminds me of the Mike games from like Mario Party 6 on the GameCube. And, you know, you'll use mouse controls for some new minigames, audio recognition with the new mic. So, you know, everything is kind of just going to be a little better. These are just brand new minigames, and that's good. That is a good update to this game. If you already own this game, you'll have to, like, pay for an upgrade, which we don't know how much that'll be, but I think it'll be worth it in this instance. Not so much in other instances. And these are going to be theoretically more expensive to buy outright than buying the original. Yeah, again, we'll get into prices later. We don't know the prices for this stuff yet, but that's a little worrying. There are Nintendo Switch 2 editions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which makes perfect sense. Let's take these already, like, great, beautiful looking games and enhance the resolutions and frame rates and enhance their color support, especially since the Switch 2 now supports HDR in all modes, so that everything just looks good. This is one of the biggest complaints of the original Switch versions that I remember hearing, and was an argument for emulating these games. So fixing this is a good thing. The only other new feature they announced for this was Zelda Notes on the Nintendo Switch app, and you have to have a Nintendo account to use the Nintendo Switch app. And it's a way to, it has like a Siri guide voice. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. One of Breath of the Wild's, like, strongest features is that it's designed in such a way that you're always finding something interesting. No matter where you're going, you're not far from something cool to look at, something to do, a new shrine. The world in and of itself is just guiding you to all these things. It's one of Breath of the Wild's, like, greatest strengths, in my opinion. And this map thing kind of disincentivizes that. And it's not that there weren't maps before. I have the Breath of the Wild strategy guide and map in my house, because I was huge into Breath of the Wild at launch, because it was the only thing to play at launch that I think was worth it. I mean, there were some other stuff, but they weren't, like, advertised very well, so it was basically that and 1-2 Switch, which sucked balls. But regardless, I don't like this voice navigation thing. And then they have a thing where you can share your Tears of the Kingdom creations through QR codes. Only on the app. Only on the app. Why is that? Why is this creation sharing thing locked to a smartphone app? That's so stupid. It looks like there's some other stuff too. I'm just gonna list them off here. We have voice memories. I guess you just watch memories there, even though you could already do that in the game. My play data, just your play data. Scanning an amiibo, I guess. I don't know what unique feature that'll be. That makes me think. The Switch 2 seems to have amiibo support, but, like, is it on console or do you have to use the app? Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. There's item sharing, so I guess you can, like, share items with friends. Ooh, interesting. Photo studio, I guess you can edit photos of the game. Global play data and daily bonus. I guess you can get something daily for, like, bonuses in both games, and then you can just look at global play data, global trends as far as playing the game goes. This just doesn't seem that cool to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, which is going to have, like, an additional story. It's that extra story you get in Kirby games, and especially Kirby remakes, and just improved graphics and everything, you know, just generally what the Switch 2 would do to a Switch game. You're just gonna, it looks like you're gonna be going through the previous levels, 2 different areas that you couldn't before. That's what it looks like, at least. There might be new stuff, we just don't know yet. Then we have Metroid Prime 4. This is a justified on Nintendo Switch 2 edition, I think, because it's going to be coming out around the time of the Switch 2, probably, as well as coming out on Switch 1. And the Switch 2 edition will allow you to play 60 FPS 4K and 120 FPS with in 1080p. Both of them support HDR, and you can use the new mouse controls that the Switch has, which we'll talk about in a second, which is great for a first-person shooter. So this is probably going to be the definitive version of the game. We also have Pokemon Legends ZA will receive a Nintendo Switch 2 version that just looks better and probably plays better. I don't know. There's not that much cool stuff going on with that. It just looks better. Like, they didn't even announce any new features for that one. It literally just looks better. That's it. It's one of the most useless upgrades. But since it's launching around the same time, just having a Switch 2 version makes sense. It feels like for some of these, they wanted to put them on Switch 2 initially, but had to wait to get the Switch 2 out. So they just ended up putting, like, Metroid and Pokemon Legends, giving them Switch 2 versions, but they said it'd be on Switch, so they gotta put it on Switch. And so they did, which is, you know, that's fine. It just feels like they put themselves in a corner, you know? But, you know, whatever, doesn't matter. Now let's go back and look at some of the features of the Switch 2. I jumped ahead a little bit there. Game Share now exists on Nintendo Switch 2, which is just basically DS download play. It seems like it's going to be a little weird as far as how it works, but we don't have much information on it. It's just going to be cool. And it looks like it'll be able to be shared with the Switch 1 and the Switch Lite. And so that's really cool. I do like that. That's pretty great. You can have up to 4 people sharing the game with 4 people. And online play with Switch 2 systems is really cool. This is probably the only use for game chat, honestly, because it's through game chat. So, yeah, I don't know. Game share is just a good idea. Now, how much of an upgrade is the Switch 2 to the original Switch? So, a 7.9-inch screen, it's 1080p now. The thickness is the exact same, so that's good. The display is basically just higher definition. You can now play in 1080p. Switch 2 supports up to 120 FPS. Now, most games won't reach anywhere near that, I'm assuming, because it says compatible games. But in games that are compatible, like Metroid Prime 4, you'll be able to reach 120 FPS, probably at least close enough to consistently that they feel confident to show this off in their trailer for the Switch 2. So that is an improvement. That's a great improvement. The SL and SR buttons, you know, the ones that are on the Joy-Cons when you take them off the Switch, those are now bigger and less cumbersome to use, and now made of metal so that they will magnetize to the side of the Switch 2. So that's going to be really cool, I guess. Still worried about that charging port, the little charging thing that sticks out that'll go into the slot where the Switch 2 is. It seems like that's maybe gonna break, but we don't know. We haven't gotten hands-on with the model yet, so who knows? I'm just a worrywart, as they say. Worrywart, more like worry Wario. Wah ha ha ha, Wario. The sticks are larger, so that's cool, I guess. The Joy-Con 2s can do mouse control now, They can be used as mice, which is pretty awesome. And both Joy-Cons support it, so that's pretty great. They've improved the speakers, the audio is just way better this time around, and they're catching up with the industry, offering 3D audio without the need for a surround sound system. So that's really cool. And there's now a built-in microphone too. So that's gonna be pretty great. The new stand looks really good. You know, it's a sturdy stand. It's gonna be actually good to use this time. It's got a lot more movement. They also show in that section, I assume to be an early character select screen for the new Mario Kart World, because the other character select screens I've seen around from like gameplay demos are a completely different screen and seem to have more characters. So I'm assuming this was put together pretty early on into that game's development. There are now 2 USB-C ports, so you can charge the game on top and on bottom, or sorry, the Switch. And you can also plug in extra accessories. That's going to be pretty cool, I think. And that's going to help out a lot in modding as well. Emulation should be good this time around, guys. Just need to give them time to crack it. There is 256 gigabytes on the standard model, 8 times of the Nintendo Switch. So you can have way more games this time around, way larger games probably too. And reading and writing data is just way faster. There's a new dock with 4K support. It's, wow, this thing is just crazy. It's a great improvement on the Switch, in my opinion. Kind of sick of talking about it because I want to move on, but let's discuss the price for the console. A lot of people are freaking out because it's $450. Oh, $450. Oh. Yeah, I'm mocking you because you sound stupid. Let's break this down real quick so I can tell you why you sound stupid. So, firstly, let's think about their competitors. $600 for a PS5? Are you kidding me? I don't know what the price is for Microsoft consoles because I don't care. However, let's also just think about this in comparison to the Switch's price, because that's what a lot of people are doing and they're freaking out. They're like, it's $150 more than the initial Switch price, because currently the initial Switch is $300. Now, here's the thing. There's also the Switch OLED, which is way more comparable to this new Switch 2 console. Not much more comparable, but basically it's larger, it's about the same size, it has a larger screen, all that stuff. So we're going to be basing it off the price point for that. And now the OLED does have an OLED screen, which if I am reading everything correctly, the Switch 2 does not have an OLED screen, it just has a better screen. So keep that in mind here. But the Switch OLED is $350 according to Nintendo's website in the US. Now, the US price for the Switch 2 is $450. So it's only $100 more than the Switch OLED. You don't get an OLED screen, but you do get HDR support in all modes, and you get a pretty good screen, and you get all these extra features that I just listed off. I think the price is perfectly fair. I think it is perfectly fair. Just you wait till we get to the game prices, though. They showed off this, like, game next that was, like, kind of their Astrobot, where they're showing off system features and stuff. But it's not a game, it's more like a virtual museum, and you have to pay for it, and it's only a digital title. It should come free with the console. So, no thank you. I don't think I'll be buying that. Side note, I hope someone does buy it, just to give it, like, preservation so we can potentially emulate it in the future. But I won't be buying it. Woody Woodpecker ass laugh. The Switch 2 will have new, better game cards. There is some misinformation going around about game key cards, which are listed on Nintendo's website. This is not for all games. Basically, what a game key card is what a lot of games are already doing. The disc or card is just access to a key for a game. However, it's basically infinite download key, so you can download it to multiple systems and stuff. That's what these new game key cards are for, rather than being just this really weird thing. And there's those new digital card things for the Switch 2 and the Switch as well, where you can transfer them easier between different systems and everything. I think overall this is going to be a positive thing, but people are freaking out because they think that there's no physical games on Switch 2. It's all digital. No, there are physical games that will just be coming on a cartridge. All the data will be on the cartridge. Some games are just going to be digital downloads, like they already are on the Switch. So this is just nothing new, really. The Switch 2 cartridges, though, are better. They also are now using micro SD express cards. The old micro SD cards that were used for the Switch won't work. So, sorry if you have data on those and you can't remember, like, to log into your Nintendo account to transfer it online. Sorry. Bullshit. There's a new Nintendo Switch Pro controller with the C chat button, an audio jack for plugging in, like, headphones or something, and there's those buttons on, like, the handles, you know, that Xbox has been doing for a while, and I think PlayStation might have started doing them too. But those are now on Switch 2, so you can map those to button combination. It's gonna be cool, I guess. It's an improved controller. What else is there to say about it? I've already talked about the Switch 2 edition stuff, so we're just gonna jump right into the first new game announcement, which is for, like, this basketball game in wheelchairs where you're gonna use the mouse to control it. It's an interesting game, but it doesn't seem to have enough style of its own to really get me interested. It feels like a mix between, like, grungy underground sort of basketball pickup type game style, but, like, also a little, like, futuristic industrial, and it doesn't all come together to interest me very much visually, and I can't see myself personally being a fan of the gameplay, but it could be pretty cool. I did just notice, though, that somebody has cat ears on their thing, which means there's going to be some form of player expression, but there's going to be a lot of really annoying people, too. So that's fun, I guess. I don't know, I feel like we could have done better if we had gotten a Mario basketball game or something. Or if we had done this, but it was just maybe a little more colorful and there were maybe more effects. Like, you can do grungy and still make it interesting. Killer Instinct is a great example of this. 2013, the fighting game it's one of my favorite fighting games of all time. That announcer adds just so much cool, like, just coolness to everything that you do in that game. And the text and everything that pops up, it's just cool. But it also takes itself seriously and is pretty grungy. So, you know, you can do that. But they didn't do that here, so I'm not really that interested. I did just have thoughts about it, though. Then they get into their publishing and development partners, games coming to Switch 2 that are from non-Nintendo companies or companies who are just partnering with Nintendo. They start off with Elden Ring, with the DLC included. It's Elden Ring on Switch 2. If you already own Elden Ring, which you probably do, there's no reason to get it here, because I believe it's playable on Steam Deck. So there's just no real reason to buy a Switch 2 and to get this game, like, at all. Maybe we'll get some extra content that'll be cool, though. Who knows? The game right after is Hades 2 from Supergiant Games is coming. People seem to love Hades and Hades 2. I don't care. I played the first Hades. I don't know, it just bored me kinda, so I just stopped playing it. Who knows, maybe I'll give it another try someday, but meh. Street Fighter 6 is coming to Switch. There will be a standard edition and a years 1 to 2 edition that includes all the fighters. That's probably going to be the version that most people are going to buy because you want to buy your games content complete, especially when they're fighting games, because you want to try out all the characters. The coolest thing about this, though, is we are getting some new amiibo based off some of the Street Fighter 6 characters. I would love to see even more amiibo, but it looks like we're going to do cards for the rest of the characters instead. Was really hoping for an Old Man Ken amiibo, but you know, the amiibo we got, it's really cool that we got him. I love amiibo, man. I'm So excited for those. I'm gonna hunt those down when they drop. New Daemon X Machina game. Who gives a shit? Split Fiction is coming to the Switch too. I don't know. People have like been giving this game praise recently. It just doesn't interest me. I don't know. It's fine. I just not my thing. I don't know. It's a cool concept. I just look at this gameplay and I say, I'm not gonna enjoy this. EA Sports games are coming to Switch too. Who gives a shit? Hogwarts Legacy is coming to Switch too. This is so cool. Now I can get called transphobic and lose all my money on a shitty console. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 are coming out on Switch too. I'm gonna be getting the game on PC, but maybe I'll pick up the Switch 2 version if it's got any interesting extra content. Who knows? It's going to be a peak game though, so if your platform of choice is going to end up being Switch 2 for some incomprehensible reason, definitely get this game. There's a new SpongeBob level. IO Interactive is bringing Hitman to Switch 2. Hitman's on Switch 2. But they also announced that they are working on a new James Bond game. They got the James Bond license. I'm interested to see how that'll play out, because I love GoldenEye and I like a couple of the other James Bond games. It's going to be really interesting to see the Hitman devs take on James Bond. I'm excited for that. Square Enix is putting Bravely Default 2 on the Switch too. Oh well, now I gotta buy it. It didn't work on me the first time, but it'll work on me the second. Yakuza 0's on the Switch. I already played this game on the Xbox. I don't need to buy this again. New Hyrule Warriors game. No one cares. I kind of cared about the first one on Wii U, but like, we got 3 of these things now, and you can presumably play the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity on Switch too. So why are we doing this again? We should get an F-Zero Warriors game so Captain Falcon can beat the shit out of people. Next, they announced that Nintendo Switch Online is going to continue on Nintendo Switch 2, obviously. And then with the expansion pack, exclusively on the Switch 2, we are going to get GameCube games. Ooh, let's look at the lineup that they showed off. No Smash Melee here, but we got a couple of other great hits here. We got Wind Waker, I already own that. Soul Calibur 2, I already own that. F-Zero GX. I actually don't own this game. I would love if they could get the arcade version of this game that Sega made working and running on Switch 2. That would be great. I don't know, man. I'm just excited that F-Zero's getting something, anything, since F-Zero 99, because wow, I really want a new F-Zero. That being said, this is like the 5th racing game that they're announcing at this presentation. There are like 5 racing games, and we haven't come to all of them yet, but we will. This is like, dude, we don't need all these racing games in the first year of the Switch 2. And there's online multiplayer support on GameCube games as well, so that's cool. I forgot to mention that. Customizable controls too, that's fun. There is a new GameCube controller that they'll be releasing. It has the new C button and everything. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. I don't know. They also show off some other games at the end, including Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD, Super Mario Strikers, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion. Nintendo just put the 3DS remaster on the fucking Switch. And Pokemon Coliseum. Wow, okay. Pokemon. Deltarune Chapters 1 through 4 are announced for Switch 2. Fun fact about me, I don't care about Undertale or Deltarune. Yippee! It's not even my hottest take. Dirty Magician Randy Pitchford comes out, and good lord, I don't like this guy. And Borderlands 4 looks like Borderlands 4. Maybe I'll have to give the Borderlands games a try, but they still look boring. Civ 7, don't care, already have Civ 6. I mentioned when I streamed this on my Twitch channel, that if WWE came to the Switch 2, that I would be excited for it. They said that it's coming to Switch 2, so I'm excited for it. Also NBA, don't care. They showed off this little like island survival type game. Uh, so the American stream lagged really bad in this, and you've probably seen posts about it, but like, holy crap, dude, that was crazy. I jumped over to the UK one, because the UK one was working properly. But the American one just, ooh, somebody lost their job that day. Anyway, game looks boring. Enter the Gungeon 2 got its first teaser. It's 3D now. I don't like that. I'm still going to buy the game. Boring No Man's Sky. Just play No Man's Sky. Boring No Man's Sky. Cyberpunk is coming to Switch 2. This actually could be pretty cool, being able to play this on the go pretty easily. It's going to be like a 64 gigabyte cartridge, and it's apparently all the data is going to be on the cartridge. So that's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be very like little sacrifice because it's only like an 85 gigabyte game on PC anyway. So yeah, I don't know, man. That seems kind of cool. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming. I don't really care about the remake because I haven't finished playing the original. When I finish playing the original, maybe I'll care about the remake. Then they show off some extra stuff that they didn't feel was worth showing in this partner thing. And yeah, most of it wasn't. Silksong did get some new gameplay out though. I was hoping that they wouldn't do that so that we could write out this Silksong doesn't exist thing for a few more years because I don't like Hollow Knight. Told you it wasn't my hottest take, and it's still not my hottest take. I just have nothing more to say as far as these extra games go. Let's get back to the good announcements. There's a Bloodborne successor on Switch 2, exclusive to Switch 2. This is gonna be a must-have game, and this is gonna sell so many Switch 2s. Once we know the price, because we still don't know the price. The new game that Sakurai has been working on, and the reason he probably retweeted this Switch 2 Direct a couple days ago, or, I don't know, like weeks ago, I don't know, whatever. Kirby Air Ride is getting a sequel, and it's being directed by Sakurai. I'm seeing some people say it's gonna be bad. No. The original Air Ride isn't bad, it just takes some getting used to, and it hasn't aged the best, but City Trials is really fun. You know, they later used that for Smash 3DS, for the Smash Run mode, which is also really fun. But this new game, it looks like it's probably gonna be better, we just don't know, but that's like another racing game. There's so many racing games announced in this Direct. We don't need all these. This also means there's no Smash, so, you know, kind of disappointing, but pretty much figured. The last thing announced here, as far as games go, is a new Donkey Kong game. Seems to be headed by the people who did Mario Odyssey. Donkey Kong destroys shit. It looks really cool, and I really want to play this. But now we gotta talk about the prices. Wrong. Actually, there's the Mario Kart World bundle for $500. This will be really important when we talk about prices. And also, I'm going to go over the gameplay that came out after the Direct of Mario Kart World and just kind of give my thoughts on whether I think the game is cool or not. But just before I do that, let's take a look at what games are going to be available at launch. Launch titles are important for every console that comes out. It's really important that we talk about this. The launch titles that I have recorded and like written down so far are as follows. If there's anything more, correct me in the comments. Mario Kart World, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch 2 editions. The GameCube classics, Zelda Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2. Those are the only ones that are confirmed to be out at launch. The rest were under a more games will be added in the future banner, so maybe they'll be available, maybe they won't. We don't know. The Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, Deltarune Chapters 1 through 4, Split Fiction, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, Street Fighter 6 Official Gears 1 through 2 Edition, Kitsunigami Path of the Goddess, which was a game I didn't talk about because it looks boring, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, Fortnite, Fast Fusion, Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition, Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening Complete Edition, Survival Kids, Rune Factory Guardians of Azumra, or whatever, Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer, and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, which I'm actually kind of excited for. Now let's get into the Mario Kart World stuff. So we've gotten a lot of gameplay from various different sources, and there's a new direct coming up. I originally wanted to wait for that to talk about all this, but with the whole price debacle going around, I figured now would be the time. So they show off the Grand Prix on Treehouse. This is going to be where I'm getting my footage and my information from. This character select screen looks really good. All of the characters are so expressive and they're emoting, and the reason I say that the other select screen that we saw in the Switch 2 Direct seemed like it was an earlier version is because there's more characters here, and this looks a little more polished than that character select screen did. They captured everyone's personality so well. There's no longer kart building anymore. We now just have regular vehicles, which I've been waiting for forever, because I always love that. My favorite Mario Kart games all have it that way. And I liked the customization a bit in 7, but it was a little long in the tooth, especially when we had 8 and then 8 Deluxe for like 8 fucking years. You know, that just was kind of upsetting. But it's good to have an actual, like, choose your kart now. Just choose a kart that looks cool or has good stats. I like that. So one of the things that I and some of my friends were worried about was with this new Grand Prix and having to drive to new locations, we were scared that there wouldn't be any time to pause in between races. There is actually. You load into the racetrack when you get there, and then you do the laps, and then you get to press next race, and then you do the open world section where you drive to the next course. At least that's how it seems to be. In knockout mode, I believe it works differently, specifically because it's knockout mode. But this is pretty cool overall, I think. It also gives you a full overview when starting a cup in Grand Prix of all the tracks you'll be racing on, but it doesn't show you the open world sections you're gonna go through. So those will remain a little bit of a mystery, but you get to see all the tracks you're going to, so you'll know which tracks you have to go to. Which, I don't know, the flyover's really cool. I really like that. Now, this game looks so fun. There's going to be a lot of rail grinding, like, everywhere, and wall riding. There's going to be so much wall riding. I don't know how long you can wall ride for, but you can wall ride and jump. And the whole... I don't know if it's going to be, like, necessary to grind and wall ride, but I assume it'll be very worth it. The new placement numbers, I like them. They feel a little wild, and they have, you know, moving patterns inside them that make them fun to look at. The new item holder thing in the top, not sure how I like that, but it's fine. They've increased your coin count to 20, which is good, especially with how large and open these tracks are going to be. Later tracks might be more closed. I'm a little worried that they might not be, because all these tracks seem pretty open, but we haven't seen any of the late game tracks yet. So it's okay, we will figure it out. They also have to be a little more open with 24 players. The new item boxes look good, though. They do look good. The new rainbow effects look very nice. I do not like the numbers and go text, though. It's using the same sort of font, but it looks a lot less wild. It looks more static. I don't like it. But, you know, we'll see. But there's so many, like, extra paths and stuff, and the feather's back. And it's perfect to be in this game because of how open these tracks are going to be now. These tracks, to me, feel like if you took Tony Hawk Pro Skater levels and turned them into Mario Kart tracks, with how much rail grinding and everything you can do, and wall riding, and you can use those to get to new areas. It reminds me of, like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 levels a lot. This just feels really cool. You can play as so many background Mario characters and enemies, like Cataquacks and the Moo-Moos. Dude, the character selection is going to be amazing this time around. I've seen a lot of new and returning items. We have gold mushrooms, but I also saw gold shells. I saw an ice flower. There's going to be so many items, dude. This is looking to be the best Mario Kart yet. Even I, a fan of Mario Kart Wii, I'm probably going to call this my new favorite Mario Kart, especially since this has a lot of design philosophy that follows what I love about Wii. Wii had the old Mario Kart style to it, but it was far more open, because if you exploited the physics of the carts correctly, you could get to different areas, and there was just a lot of skips you could do. The game feels very open and fun to play at a high level, and I feel like this new Mario Kart could capture those same feelings while being an overall more polished and better experience. I'll make another video discussing all this after the Direct, and looking at the gameplay a little more in depth, because now we need to get to the very important part of this whole thing, the pricing debacle. The pricing is going to be rough. We'll see though. So, game pricing, huh? We're really used to the $60 game pricing, aren't we? We're seeing $70 being swooped in there. Let's look at the price for Mario Kart World. What the fuck? So, the price for the game, as shown off on the English Nintendo website, or American Nintendo website more like, is $79.99. Ooh, that is rough, right? That's gonna be $80. But there's been a lot going around about whether the game will be more physically or not. It seems like physical games will be more, is what people have been saying. But a lot of people have been saying, no, it's not. That's not what it says at all. There's nothing to support that. And so I tried to find a source for all of these claims that have been going around about the price, and I have some unfortunate news. On a Spanish version of the Nintendo website, we have gotten more accurate pricing for all of these consoles. Now, this is going to be a little weird, and there's different regional pricing probably, so everything's going to be a little different, and we won't know the price until the Direct. However, here we are seeing that it is $470 for the Nintendo Switch 2 and $509 for the Nintendo Switch 2 bundle in what I assume to be Spain. That's what I believe the site to link to. This is the Spanish site, as in like Spain Spanish, not South American. But if we come down here to the Mario Kart World section, we'll see that the digital price is $80 as expected, but the physical price is $89.99. And if we do a little converting, that's $97 USD. Now, do note that some people have been speculating, and I have a Reddit post on screen here where someone says that there's no evidence for this. This is actually incorrect. This is from an EU Nintendo source specifically. It is not necessarily the case for the US, but if they're doing it in the EU, they're probably doing it here, but we can't say for certain until the Direct, just to clarify. Holy shit. Now, Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be a little less. It's going to be $70 digital with $80 physical, but they're now charging more for physical games. And a lot of people are going around saying, it's just game key cards. Why are they charging more? Is it like a $10 box? And no, the data is stored on the cartridges for these games. For both of these games, it's been confirmed. They're stored on the cartridges. So that is going to be the case for some games, but I do not like physical games being more than digital games. I get why that might be the case, but I don't like that. I don't like that. $90. $90, more like 97 conversion-wise, but they'll probably change it a little bit for the region. $90 potentially for Mario Kart World physically. I like to collect physical games. $90 is too much for this shit. $80 is already quite a big ask. You have to buy a Switch 2 and then buy Mario Kart for $80, which is ridiculous. Now, if you buy the bundle, you'll save $30. I don't know if you'll get the game physically or if you'll get it as a digital download code, but you will save $30. So that looks to be the best possible deal that you're going to get here. But these prices are just ridiculous for this new console. They seem very sure of themselves. It's not very clear to a lot of people how much of an upgrade this is. It's clear to me because I'm into this sort of stuff, but for a lot of people, they're not sure how much of an upgrade this is. They don't think $450 is worth it, even though it is. But for the games, it's just too much. No one's going to buy into that. And there's a lot of controversy surrounding its release. we are looking at potentially another Wii U or PS3 situation here, where both consoles failed at launch. The question is, will it end up like the Wii U and end up failing overall, or will it pull a PS3 and do some price drops, take out a couple features, and pull itself back into a top market leader? Because a lot of people don't know this, the PS3 actually won its generation. A lot of people think it was the 360, because the 360 started winning, but Microsoft shit the bed later in life. That's the thing, though. Microsoft shit the bed. If the competition doesn't shit the bed in the future, which I'm worried about this upcoming Xbox with Steam support, Nintendo might not be able to recover much. They'll probably beat out Sony, because Sony is being the king of making stupid-ass decisions right now. But there's a chance that we could see the second Wii U. I thought the Switch 2 would be a slam dunk, but these prices alone have turned it into a potential Wii U situation. And that's not good for anyone. I don't know what to say about this. These prices are just ridiculous. If you're not a YouTuber who makes Nintendo content, you cannot justify buying a game for $90, dude. $90! Even being generous, and we just buy the digital version, $80? Are you kidding? I don't know how people are going to react to this. But to be fair, the US price has not been announced yet. This is just for Spain. So we could be getting less in the US, but who knows? There's also tariffs going on right now, and people have been saying that the tariffs are what's affecting this price. That can't be true, because these tariffs don't exist in Spain, or at least not to my knowledge. So it wouldn't make sense for the Spanish price to be this much, and for the supposed prices across all regions to be pretty consistent with this, according to the other websites' minimum price estimates currently, with the tariffs. So it's probably not a tariff thing, but maybe when the US price officially does get set in stone, it will be more due to the tariffs. We just don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty that won't be cleared up until the Direct on the 17th, which is when I will see you all next with more Switch information, but that is all for the Switch segment. As of right now, my final conclusion is, I can't afford this because I'm not a YouTuber making money off YouTube. And I don't think most low-level wage workers will be able to justify this purchase. Now, if you are making the average salary of a US citizen based off the prices, you could potentially afford this on a month's salary after all your bills are paid, but that would also assume that your bills are the average for the US currently, and the housing market and bills and rent and all that is just wild right now, so there's no guarantee. And for a lot of people in like Canadian countries, and the UK, where games are already really expensive, we could be seeing upwards of 100 Canadian dollars per game. This is just crazy, dude, and it's killing all the hype for the Switch 2. The hype for the Switch 2 is just tanking after these prices have been announced. The thing is, maybe people who don't know will buy into this, and maybe Nintendo will be successful. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to get more information. That is all for the Switch 2 portion of this video, though. Now I want to talk about Superman on a lighter note. A new Superman teaser dropped about 17 hours ago as of recording this, or closer to 19 now that I think about it. I've been recording for a couple hours. But, however, this is looking to be a really good movie. It's looking to be pretty faithful. It seems to have some fun of Superman. We get to see Hot Girl's in it. Her CG's a little but maybe they'll fix it by the time the movie comes out, because we still don't have a proper release date as far as I'm aware. We have the Fortress of Solitude looks real cool. We have those automatons, and the way Superman talks to those automatons really solidifies his character. He takes time, even while he's in pain, even while he's hurting, to say hello to his automatons, who reply to him saying that they're not conscious. They clearly are, considering that a new automaton gets excited when Superman looks at her. So, clearly they are. And Superman treats them as such, even when they say that they aren't. This is just fun-loving Superman. This is gonna be so good. Crypto's gonna be in it. Dude, I'm so excited for this trailer. Everything looks so good. Lex has a gun. Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, or Green Lantern or whatever. Not Hal Jordan. Just Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. Hal Jordan will probably show up at some point, or maybe he won't. Who knows? I don't know. This movie just looks so jam-packed full of cool shit, and I'm excited. Yeah, notice how that was a lot shorter? There's not much more to go over without an in-depth analysis, which I don't feel like doing for the movie just yet. Maybe when we get a little more information. But yeah, that's gonna be the video for today. I did not imagine that this would be my first, like, analysis video that I did. And I'm not gonna count this as part of my main video series, but I do have more videos on the way. They're coming, and they're gonna be in a different style than this. This was just what I could put together for Nintendo Switch news. So stick around if you liked it. Don't if you didn't, I guess. You know, like, subscribe, all that bullshit. And, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.